Germany and Ireland. So once again, thank you for everyone for taking time out of their day today to join us during this challenging time. Just a quick update on Biomark. We are still currently open. The majority of our workforce is currently working from home, like I imagine many of you are. Our production staff are still at our facilities along with our shipping staff, and we are taking the necessary protocols and procedures to make sure that they are safe and healthy and that we can continue to provide product and services to our customers. So once again, thank you for everyone's support on this phone call. This is the second in the series of webinars that we have done. This is our effort to reach out and stay in touch with everyone during this time. A little bit on the format today. Everybody's in listen only mode. So you'll see there on the sidebar that you can add questions, any comments that you may have during the presentation. So feel free to do that, and I will jump in and present those or give those to our presenter, and we can answer those in real time as they come up. And our presenter today will be my colleague Matt Brower. He is our sales manager at our Boise office. So without further ado, I will let Matt take it away.
Thanks, Aiden, and welcome everybody to my kitchen. The reason we're doing this webinar is just to kind of give everybody a better understanding of all the features and capabilities of the high performance reader line offered here at Biomark, and to answer any questions that you might have about either one of these readers. So hopping into it, here is the HPR Lite reader. The HPR Lite reader was designed by Biomark specifically for use in wet environments. The reader includes this nice plastic hard case. And when you open up the reader, or the box, excuse me, you'll see that all the reader and all the accessories are cradled in this nice foam liner to add protection to the reader and any of its accessories. You also get this nice quick start guide that just details some really basic functions of the reader, like charging the reader, turning the reader on, off, reading tags, how to connect to your computer. On this quick start guide as well is all the FCC, IC, and CE certification and regulatory information. You also get a basic spec sheet right there that we will all pretty much cover entirely in this webinar. Included is the universal power supply, and you also get these 3 plug adapters for all international customers. You get the USB to micro USB charging and comms cable. This can be either plugged into the base of the power supply, or it can be plugged into your computer for both charging and communication to the reader. You get this handy little micro USB to female USB adapter that can be plugged into the base of the reader, and you can actually use it to pull data off the reader using like a USB flash drive. The reader itself fits in your hand really well. It's good for both righties and lefties, but more importantly, it can actually be run with a single hand. The case of the reader is very rugged and drop resistant, but more importantly is it's waterproof. Get this out of the way. Being waterproof, that being said, we don't really recommend that you use this reader at all for any sort of diving application or to use it actually scanning underwater. The reader itself is very unique because it's a true universal reader. This means that the reader will read all tag manufacturers and frequencies. So this will include your 125 kilohertz tag, your 128 encrypted tags, 134.2 kilohertz FDX-B and HDX, and some of the older 400 kilohertz tags that you'll find out there in some of the long-lived species like sturgeon and tortoises. The internal memory of the reader will hold over 50,000 unique tag IDs with corresponding time and date stamps. The battery pack on the back is a sealed 7.2 lithium ion battery that has a massive runtime. It'll run for 8 to 16 hours when it's connected. It'll run for 8 hours when it's connected, continuously connected to a computer or a Android device like a tablet. It'll run for 16 hours if it's not actually connected to a device.
Hey, Matt, can I jump in and interrupt you really quick?
Sure.
We just got a note from somebody that they were not able to see the video. So if anybody else can't see the video, please type it on the right-hand side there and we'll see what we can do to address that. Thanks.
Can you see the video?
I can see it.
Okay.
Go ahead and we'll see if we get any other responses here.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
Excellent. The large backlit screen is very nice if you're doing any scanning at night. Sea turtle researchers find this really handy when they read a tag. You'll actually be able to see the tag code instead of a black screen at night, or use of a headlamp to actually see the screen. There's a loud audible beep that happens when you scan a tag, or not scan a tag, as you guys probably just heard. Um, but there's also a vibration in the handle that's really nice for like any positive feedback. And so if you are in like a high noise environment like a stream side, or in like an indoor hatchery situation where you have pumps running and things like that, and you can't really hear it, you'll always have that positive feedback in the handle. The reader itself has all the newest Bluetooth BLE circuitry. And so this means is that it will actually connect to all modern devices, but also all mobile devices as well.
Matt, question from an attendee.
Sure.
Can you clarify the battery runtime again, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the battery in this will last around 8 hours, actually continuously connected to a computer. If it's not actually connected to a computer, the reader itself will shut off after a period of time and not being used. And so that extends the battery life significantly. All these settings can be actually adjusted in our tag manager software, which is extremely easy to use. You can set it to shut down every 5 minutes, every minute, every 30 seconds. And so that will greatly expand the battery life. We have customers that use this reader weeks on end because it's always shutting off. So, but continuously connected to a device, you'll get about 8 hours of run life out of it.
Great, thank you.
Uh-huh. The antenna is external on this guy, which is really quite cool, and it really actually vastly improves the read range of it. I can show you, these are just some of our standard APT12 tags right here, but you get roughly around 8 inches of passover read range through this, and about 4 to 5 inches of an actual passover read range. So the read range is quite good. So this is really helpful for people who have larger species. The guys up in Montana are tagging grizzly bears in the shoulder, and it's a deep tissue tag, and so they need a reader with a handheld reader with a little bit more read range to really get in there and get that tag. And that's really all I have on the HPR Lite. Is there any questions, Hayden?
Yeah, I would just, if anybody else has any audio or video issues, I think we had one attendee here. So if you have them, please type them in the right-hand side there and we'll try to assist you. So Matt, we did have a couple other questions on the HPR Lite. You did mention kind of briefly how to communicate with it. Somebody wanted to know, how do they get tag codes off of it?
Yeah, so the tag codes can be pulled off in several different methods. We have a couple of softwares. If you do purchase the reader from us, you get a free copy of our tag manager software. And the tag manager software is nice because it'll allow you to either connect to the reader via the USB cable or a Bluetooth. And with a simple click of a button that says download tags, all your tag IDs can actually be pulled off with corresponding time and date stamps. So you can organize it that way. Also, our free Bioterm software, which is just a terminal program that we offer on our website for no charge, also has this Bluetooth function to it as well. And if you connect to the reader, you can simply type a question mark into the terminal window, and it'll pull up all the commands of the reader. So you can change times, dates, you can download all your tag information. So both these softwares are available. You can actually send everything to a USB thumb drive with that adapter, and it'll pull all the tagging data off in a text file, and it'll save onto a USB thumb drive. You can do most everything on the keypad itself. There's a few functions on the reader itself that you actually need to plug into a computer, like if you wanted to adjust that turn off period of time, that period of latency, you could actually adjust that with the tag manager software or Bioterm, but you can do most everything from the keypad.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. And then one more question that came in. Can you change power settings for this unit?
No, so the HPR Lite is a fixed power setting, and we did that to basically conserve battery life. But it doesn't really need it. You're actually limited on your read range by the actual size of the antenna on this guy. So you don't need to adjust the power rate to get a better read range of any antenna. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the IP67 waterproof does actually include all the screen, the buttons, and also the charging port here on the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but this is a stainless steel mini USB charging port and comms port, and we include this little silicone plug that'll actually plug into the bottom of it. That is not to actually keep it waterproof by any means. What it does is it just keeps mud and dirt out of the reader.
Okay, great. Thank you, Matt. That's it on the HPR Lite.
Excellent. Well, let's move on to its big brother. So this is the HPR Plus. The HPR Plus was developed as a rugged, stationary, or portable reader that has the ability to run external antennas, and also it has a continuous mode, which that's one thing the HPR Lite does not have. So when you get this reader, you get this nice, big, solid seahorse case that's actually waterproof. And when you open it up, you see that all your accessories and readers are nicely cradled in this high density foam, and it keeps everything organized, but more importantly, it keeps everything protected. For this, I'll just yank everything out of here real quick so I can display it a little bit better. I know it's kind of taking up the whole screen, and we'll go through all the accessories one by one. All right. The case is nice. It's just really big. So first off, you get this international power supply, and it's rated from 110 to 220, so it can be used in all over the world. You will just need to replace this cable if you wanted to use it for 220. It comes with a 110 cable with it. Here's is the DC power cord that actually plugs into the top of the reader itself, and pretty self-explanatory. You get the submersible racket style antenna. This is the off-the-shelf one. You get this 2-meter exciter cable that plugs into the base of the reader, and it's a keyed connector.
That question from an attendee on that
Sure.
on the charger.
Uh-huh.
Does that act as an AC power supply as well?
Absolutely. You know, you can use the AC power supply. We recommend that you run it on batteries. The biggest reason we recommend that you run it on batteries is AC power is inherently noisy and can cause issues with the reader. So it can cause a high noise environment. But if you have no other choice and you can want to plug it into a wall, and you're in a fairly quiet environment, say you're outdoors at a hatchery and you're not near like a spinning pump or anything like that, absolutely use the AC power. We do recommend that you actually run it off of DC power. And so we actually sell an accessory cable called the DC power cable that can be plugged into batteries. And I'll get to that here in a little bit when it comes to, powering the, remote power of this reader.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt.
You get your mini USB to USB comms cable. And this can be used primarily just to hook to, the computer to give the reader commands, or it can be used to, scan tags into a program. But the more importantly too, the feature, this one also has the latest Bluetooth circuitry in there, so you can do it wirelessly as well. You also get another one of these mini USB to female USB adapters. And this cable can be used to do two things. You can actually load firmware on the reader with a USB thumb drive, or like before, you can actually dump all your tagging data onto a USB flash drive. You get this nice padded hand strap, and this actually hooks to the back of it right here. And what this is for is if you wanted to slide your hand in and hold that actually the back of the reader while you're scanning, you could use that. I like this little nifty table stand that you can get right here that actually connects to the back of the reader, and it can be used as kind of like a tablet stand or like a desk stand. For this webinar though, I want to be able to show you guys the screen, and so I'll actually turn it on, but get rid of that. So that's some of just the basic accessories that come with the reader itself. So one thing that's important to note on this reader is that it is an FDX-B and HDX only reader. So that means it'll only read the 134.2 kilohertz tags. We designed this reader this way to maximize your read range out of the antenna, but also increase your read speed. The case
Question from an
Sure.
attendee. Runtime on the battery.
Yeah, absolutely. So the runtime on the battery in continuous mode, meaning that the scanner is always on and always basically pumping juice to the antenna, is roughly anywhere from 4 to 8 hours, depending on how high you have the power turned up. And I'll touch on this in just a sec on how to actually adjust the power level of the reader. But we always recommend that it comes at a factory default setting of 66% between 0 and 100, obviously. And that's kind of the factory. And at that stage right there, you'll get right around 6 hours of continuous runtime out of there. Now you can maximize this, especially by turning the reader into sleep mode, which you just saw me do right there, with just a simple push of the OK button. And that will last, anywhere from 12 to 18 hours with the reader in standby.
Great, thank you, Matt.
No problem. So the case construction of the reader is also IP67 sealed, and you can see on the top that all the ports up here on the top have rubber gaskets and basically stainless steel nuts that kind of seal the whole case together. It's also certified shock resistant to a drop on concrete for 1 meter, so it's a very, very durable reader. The internal memory of this reader will actually hold 1.6 million tag records, and so it'll hold a substantial amount of tagging data. We designed it this way with 10 gigs of flash memory to offer it, well, to use the reader itself as a stationary reader, as like a temporary stationary reader. The large color LCD display is nice because it'll actually display the last 3 tag numbers, and you'll see that in just a second when I start running some tags through it. But it's nice to see, which tag you're actually on, which tag was previous. There are 2 indicator lights actually on the reader itself. There's a bright blue light that flashes when a tag is read, but then there's an orange status light over here on the side. Now, when you plug it into into your AC power supply and are charging the reader, that orange light will actually glow constantly. If you're in a high noise environment or you're getting an alarm like the antenna is disconnected or something like that, you'll see a flashing orange light, and you'll also see an alarms window that pops up on the actual reader itself. Just like the HPR Lite, there's a loud audible tone that is heard when a tag is read. One really cool feature on the HPR Plus is there's actually an internal GPS in this guy that'll take a plus or minus 3 meter GPS coordinate every time a tag is read. And when this is turned on, that GPS coordinate is actually exported out of the reader with all your tagging information. So when you export it out, you'll have your time and date stamp, you'll have your tag ID, and then you'll have a GPS coordinate that's associated with it. This is not a sub-meter accurate GPS. This is very similar to like a standard handheld that you would get off the shelf. Like I said before, the reader has a continuous mode, which is really unique of a reader of this size, but it also has an auto tuning feature. So this is really cool because you don't have any external capacitors on the antenna itself. You don't have any tuning boxes on the antenna itself. All that is done actually internally in the reader itself. Let me plug this in real quick and we can run some tags.
Matt, a question from an attendee.
Sure.
The plugs the plug that you're plugging in right now, and then the
Uh-huh.
plug on the antenna itself, are those waterproof as well?
They are. Yeah, so these are a sealed GTC connector out of Australia, and we actually sell them at Biomark. And if you need additional, like if you wore this one out eventually, you can actually purchase one of those connectors from us, or you can send the reader back and actually uh, have it done by us. Sorry, that was kind of awkward. Yeah, and so absolutely, those are a submersible uh, connector.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. So like I said before, the HPR Plus has the ability to run larger external antennas. And so we offer right now a bunch of different low profile hand welded HDP antennas. The largest that we offer is a 24-inch by 24-inch antenna, which is roughly 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters. But we also offer a multitude of off-the-shelf sizes like 18 inches by 18 inches, 12 by 24, 12 by 32, and then we offer a bunch of circular pipe antennas in 10-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch sizes. We also offer two metal detector style like sweeping antennas called the BP series of antennas. And I figured I would just show you guys. I can share my screen here real quick and just pull up the catalog real quick and show you guys the catalog here. It's only letting me show a file or a whiteboard. Let's see what this does.
Matt, while you're pulling up that, I had
Mhm.
another question from an attendee. Similar to the HPR Lite question, how do we get tag codes off this unit?
Yeah, absolutely. So tag codes can be loaded exactly like the HP, or can be taken off the computer in exactly the same fashion as the HPR Lite. You can either pull them off with using like a USB flash drive, or you can pull them off using our software. Plugging into it. Well, I cannot get, it shows share file or new whiteboard. If I click on share file, I think it's going to share a file. There we go. So here is some of the antennas we offer for the HPR Plus. And so here are these low profile antennas right here. So here's the 24 by 24 inch. These are CAD drawings, but you kind of get the idea. These are actually hand built by us in Boise here. And these are extremely sealed. So they're actually 100% hand welded with a triple weld around that inside edge right there and that outside edge. It also has a flange around the outside of it. So if you needed to put it in a slot of like a fishway, or if you wanted to bolt it to like a outer surface so something is swimming or flying through it. This rectangular size is kind of nice, and it's what it's designed to do is kind of fit in like the window of a old abandoned house. And we do this all the time for like bats flying in and out of an old abandoned house, and so these work extremely well. Here is some of the circular pipe antennas. They've always been joked as the toilet seat antennas because they can look like a toilet seat. Here are our BP series of antennas. This is the BP Plus right here. Now the BP Plus has a 14-inch coil on it, and it has roughly anywhere from 10 to 18 inches of read range, really depending on which tag size you're using. This one is designed to be used in it's extremely durable. It's made to be take a lot of abuse. So it's made to go into the field and submerge in a heavy current and look for, fish, look for shed tags, look for live amphibians crawling around. And it's a very, very nice antenna. Now this guy over here, the BP Lite, is a little bit more of a terrestrial use one. So we don't really recommend you use the BP Lite antenna in places with heavy current, but it's really, really good for ponds or lakes. We have a lot of people that use them for turtles and frogs and amphibians when they go out and they're trying to see, I marked them here, where have they moved? Now, this is really important to note that the GPS function in the HPR Plus in conjunction with this reader is pretty cool, because you can actually have a marked location and then a recite location with using these guys here. Yeah, and let us know. There's all the pricing there on the side, but if you need a quote or anything, let us know. Excellent. Now the read range of this reader is roughly around 12 inches using the FDX-B mode, excuse me, the FDX-B tag. Now there's all these different unique modes that you can actually set with a quick little shortcut button. I know the screen's kind of flashing. It's a property of a LCD screen on a camera, but you can easily change the unique mode into continuous mode, and that'll actually turn it so it's always on. And I can show you guys when you read a tag here. So here is all your blue status lights that are flashing right here, and it's continuously reading the exact same tag. Now, if you put that into a unique mode, it would actually only read that tag one time. And this is important so you don't get a multitude of different, scans of the exact same tag. But yeah, you get right around 12 inches of read range with this antenna. Now you're limited on the read range of the antenna of this, because basically you're limited by the size of the antenna. When you put a larger antenna on there, you will get a larger read range. For example, like the BP Plus antenna, you'll get roughly anywhere from 14 to 18 inches of read range using the 12mm tag. And that's kind of that reader in a nutshell. Is there any questions, Hayden, that you see?
Yeah, we just somebody just sent me one via chat that
Okay.
asks about you can see the tag codes here on the screen displayed, but they want to know, can you actually view a list of all the tag codes that
Yeah,
you have in
absolutely.
the reader?
Yeah, and so if you turn the reader into standby mode, you just click the read button once, then you hit, and then to put it into sleep mode, you just hit the OK. But then you would just go into the menu. You would go into files, which is the right arrow over, and then you see right here that we have 2 log files. Now the second log file is the one we've been doing, and believe it or not, we just scanned 107 tags in that short amount of time. And you would just go down there, and then you can actually hit actions and view tags. And so here is all your tag information with timestamps, and it actually gives you the tag type. I have the geotagging feature turned off, but if I had it turned on, you would actually see a lat and long there as well. And
Thanks,
all
Matt.
this, yeah,
Oh,
and
sorry.
then
Sorry, go
from
ahead.
this, oh no, from this little menu right here, you can adjust all the settings in the reader. So if you wanted to change the tag type to FDX, the tag format to decimal or hexadecimal, you can do that. You can adjust the power of the reader, so you can really crank up the battery life or decrease the battery life depending on if you wanted 100% or 30% noise. One thing that's important to mention on these guys too is we have several people that use this reader actually as a temporary stationary reader, and so they have it hooked to a low profile antenna in a window of a house in Canada, and they're looking at bats flying through. It works extremely well for that. We sell a DC power cable, and you can actually hook this to a battery bank of 12-volt batteries, and you can put a small little solar panel on it, and you can run it continuously for a couple weeks and monitor what's coming in and out. If you're looking for anything like a permanent, station, permanent passive RFID site, we always recommend using the IS-1001 reader, but this one actually does both really well.
Great. Thanks, Matt. And the question that you've been waiting for, tell us the price of these units. And then also somebody asked for a quick, just, what are the main comparisons? What are the main
Absolutely.
comparisons and differences between the two?
Yeah. So the HPR Lite, this one is $815. Now the HPR Plus is $3,055. We are running this on sale until the end of June. And so right now you can actually pick this reader up for $2,444 US, and that'll go until June 30th, I believe was when we set the cutoff date on that. The differences between the two is this reader will hold 1.6 million tag records. This reader will only hold, will hold 50,000. This one has a continuous mode. And so if you need a continuous mode on a reader, this is the one you go with. If you are just looking to scan individuals here and there, this is the reader that will work for you. The ability to run external antennas, that is the big selling feature of this reader. The ability to push a significant amount of current and get good read range, to an external antenna, that is a really nice reader. This one does not have the ability to run external antennas. Also to be used as a stationary reader. This reader, obviously, you can't use it as a stationary reader, where this one you can. This one has, much more power, much more longevity when it comes in terms to hooking it to an external battery bank, running external antennas. This one's designed to kind of throw in the front pocket of your waders or in the back pocket of your field, your backpack, and just go out and scan tags. So that's really the main differences between the two. You told me they were out of screen.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt.
No problem.
That's all of the questions. I've got it through all the questions here on the sidebar.
Excellent.
We will, just for everyone's reference, we'll hang out here for a little bit to take any additional questions or comments that come in. But once again, just really wanted to thank everybody for joining us during this time. We did record this webinar, so if you missed it, I know we had one attendee that had some video problems at the beginning, so we'll post it on the website, we'll post it on social media. If you want to share it, send it to anybody or review it, by all means, please do so. Watch out for some future webinars. We've got a series coming up. I think we have 5 over the next couple months that we're going to be working on, detailing everything from antenna systems to some of our scientific data analysis services. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us during this time. We hope that everybody here on the call is safe and healthy. Your families are healthy and safe. And please feel free to reach out to us during this time. We are here for you. So thanks again, everyone. Matt, nice job, and we'll hang out and I'll throw questions at you if they come in here on the side.
Excellent. Let's hang out.
Got some feedback for you. Thank you. Well done presentation.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
At least we didn't have to deal with the earthquake this time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna remember that. Just kind of that panic looked in me and my wife's eyes, like, what's going on? And then running around. Just, something different.
Made for some good conversations and some good
It
text
did.
strings, So
I was impressed how of a tight knit family we are in the sales department, that we were all, are you okay? Is everybody okay? It was amazing.
uh, I did. Matt, I just did have one question come in. Can
Yeah.
you reiterate battery life on the HPR Plus?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I forgot to say what the battery type is on the HPR Plus. So the HPR Plus uses a lithium iron phosphate battery, which is actually the same battery that you find in electric cars. But if you had this reader hooked to an external antenna and you had the power cranked up to 100%, you were trying to maximize read range. So if you were running it full blast, you'd only get roughly around 4 hours of battery life out of it. If you turn the battery life down, you'll probably get another hour or two out of it. If you practice good like battery management techniques, like basically turning it into standby and turning it off, turning it into sleep mode, you will extend that battery life to up to 12 hours. So yeah, I mean, and then if you need additional battery life, just carry like a small little 12-volt battery and get like the DC power cable, and you can extend that battery life out to hours upon hours.
Great. Thanks, Matt.
Mhm. Amber Garber was saying that she was wondering if we could hear her kids in the background.
Nope.
It's so funny because I get so many phone calls, from customers who are working from home, and all of a sudden I hear mom, 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 mom in the background. I
I
kicked
don't know if anybody could hear it, but when I was asking you one of the questions, my dog was barking in the background. Uh,
I've been kicking my wife and kid out of the house for all these webinars, and my wife's been going on a lot of jogs. So, like Elsa said, we're gonna have to buy her a bottle of wine or something like that as a thank you.
uh, Elsa, it looks like most of the attendees have exited now.
Yes.
Okay, shall we go ahead and shut her down?
Mhm.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.